Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu apologized for a military strike on a Gaza hospital. 5 journalists died in the incident, as well as rescue workers who were responding to an earlier strike.
The IDF is investigating what the Prime Minister is calling a tragic mishap. Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem.
The Prime Minister's office released a statement that said, in part, Israel deeply regrets the tragic mishap that occurred today at the Nasser Hospital in Gaza. Israel values the work of journalists, medical staff, and all civilians. Our war is with Hamas terrorists. Our just goals are defeating Hamas and bringing our hostages home. The IDF said an investigation is underway.
As a professional military committed to international law, we are obligated to investigate our operations thoroughly and professionally. The Chief of the General Staff has instructed that an inquiry be conducted immediately to understand the circumstances of what happened and how it happened.
Defrin added that the IDF faces challenges in fighting Hamas.
Reporting from an active war zone carries immense risk, especially in a war with a terrorist organization such as Hamas, who cynically hides behind the civilian population.
I think we do need to place this in a certain context, and that is the role of hospitals as used by the Hamas organization inside the Gaza Strip.
Jonathan Spire from the Middle East Forum told CBN News how he found out the way Hamas uses hospitals.
As a result of some issues I was involved with last year, found myself in the summer of 2024 talking to a person inside one of the hospitals, Shahada Al-Aqsa Hospital in Deir al-Balah. And this person, talking to myself and my colleague in real time on WhatsApp, on our phones, was saying, yeah, I'm in this hospital, we're surrounded by Hamas operatives, there are certain parts of the hospital that we're not allowed to go to because they're for the exclusive use of Hamas. That was an actual eyewitness on the ground telling me that. And I think this fits in with that picture that we know that the Hamas organization very cynically is making use of medical facilities.
Spire says the media often misses this important context.
Unfortunately, I think what we've seen is, certainly in regard of a number of very prominent media organizations, is a willingness to take at face value claims and figures and reports coming out of Gaza produced by the Hamas Authority itself or by individuals closely associated with it.
Meanwhile, in the Oval Office, President Trump said he's not happy about the incident, but he hopes the war will be over soon.
I think within the next 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to have pretty good conclusive ending. And it's a hard thing to say because they've been fighting for thousands of years. If you want to know, that's been a hotbed forever. But I think we're doing a very good job. But it does have to end. But people can't forget October 7th.
On the international front, Australia today severed diplomatic ties with Iran and expelled its diplomats. The Prime Minister is accusing Iran of orchestrating extraordinary and dangerous acts of aggression on Australian soil, including arson attacks. Iran's foreign minister dismissed the charges, calling them a smokescreen to compensate for Israel's recent criticism of Australia for its support of a Palestinian state. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, what a contrast here. Israel is apologizing and saying it was a mistake. It shouldn't have ever happened, and they're going back to review how they're conducting the war. I've yet to hear any apology out of Hamas. I've yet to hear any apology out of Hezbollah or any of the other terror groups that are launching attacks against Israel. The Houthis launching a ballistic missile with a cluster bomb. All of this happening, and you hear no apology. In fact, what you hear is we're going to do this again and again and again until Israel is wiped off the map. That's the struggle we're in, and it shows a pretty bright line between the two combatants. Israel, on one hand, trying to do whatever it can to protect civilians and say, we're trying to feed them, we're dropping leaflets to warn them of our military activity, and Hamas doing whatever they can to kill Israelis with no warning, no trying to protect civilians. In fact, civilians are the target. So let's stay firm. Let's continue to stand with Israel.